Sweet marriage. 6 years ago, I met my wife. She was 25 and I was 36. I worked at the local and she was a recovering ex. I had been at the behind bars for several years and have seen all sorts of people. My coworkers actually stated that she was perfect for me. She had resolve. She wasn't the ex that others are. She didn't expect God or anyone else to free her of her habits. She said it was her demon to beat. They encouraged our meeting as we were so similar. Now I don't know if it's because they felt sorry for me. At that point I had dated but stayed single and was single for about 8 years up until that point. She was pretty, witty, and had a wonderful sense of humor. At the time, I thought there wouldn't be any harm in writing her after she left the facility, which I did. We got to know each other without bonding and it was actually refreshing. We learned about each other and fell in love with each other's words. If you're wondering why on earth I would take the chance, it's because I believe everyone is capable of change. That and maybe I was lonely. I do know that I felt a connection that I had not felt before and it seemed wonderful. Fast forward a year and a half and we were living with each other. We were the best of friends. We had some issues but nothing major. However, she did relapse. One time, I remember when in the day, my fears of relapse had come true and I voiced that I was unsure about us. Over the next couple weeks, we talked a lot and she was remorseful and displayed resolve. She made it this far and 1 step back, 2 steps forward. And to this day, this was her only relapse and I am very proud of her. Oddly enough, during this time, she forgot to take her birth control and as a result, she became pregnant. We worked through her relapse. She had our beautiful little girl and life was great. Add another 2 years. She got a great job and we were raising our daughter and life was great. She became the person I knew she was capable of being and I finally had the family I had always wanted. Shortly after this time, in a period of a couple weeks, she started to become irritable with me constantly and picked arguments, something we never did. After something trivial, a 4th of July gathering, she exploded, stated she was having an affair, refused to tell me with whom and demanded that I move out. She kept our daughter from me for a couple days. It was terrible. I found out who this person was and contacted his wife and told her. We exchanged information and had learned during the confession that I had received the trickle-down truth. Over the course of the next couple weeks, she told more and more of the truth. I felt terrible. Things seemed so good. I was off work at the time due to a health issue, but we both agreed that it was temporary but needed. 2 severe blood clots that turned my legs purple. Now she was blaming me being off work as one of her frustrations. She said I had become depressed and pushed her away. And in her defense, not working made me a little depressed. She seemed remorseful. We went to a marriage counselor and worked past this. We learned a lot during this period and in the 2 years past, often talked about how it made us stronger. I brought it up a lot and needed reassurance often. However, things were better. Within a month after her affair, I got to go back to work and things were looking up. We were bruised but not beaten. I felt good about our future. And we have a daughter. She deserved parents that would fight for her family. Another 2 years later, we now have a beautiful house, wonderful daughter, and I have never been happier. I have always wanted a family and a wife I could call my friend, and I finally had it. Financially, my job is low pay. The reason is yet another decision we made together. She works 2 midnight shifts and 2 day shifts. We agreed on a day shift job for me so that our daughter would be home a lot instead of a daycare or something. The town I live in is not all that big, so day shift positions aren't easy to come by. So, 8-4 was perfect. Once our daughter was a little older and when my wife could hold a different shift, I would find something better with better pay. It was for the greater good. This last May 4th, I was up late and decided it was time for bed. After I plugged my phone in on my side of the bed, I started to walk out of the bedroom to let the dog out, lock the doors, etc., and noticed her phone lit up. Out of curiosity, I walked over to see what it was this late, and she woke up as I was looking at it. She changed her lock code, but after an argument, gave me the new code. She made up some lie and said to my face that she changed the code because I snoop around on her phone. This was bizarre because I didn't, yet she lied to me about me, and it wasn't true. After looking at her phone, I saw that she was pricing a Super 8 in a town 20 minutes away. After asking her about it, she said she typed it in by mistake. She left that night and I didn't see or talk to her or my daughter for 5 days. After talking to her finally, she said that she had already filed for divorce and I needed to move out. She states that because of the one time we argued in front of our daughter, it was too much. My paranoia and my insecurities have pushed her over the edge. There is no fixing this. I have destroyed my marriage. Now, I had to move and rebuild my life with a low-paying job. The woman that would write me love notes daily, tell me I was a perfect husband, tell me how happy she is with her life now, says our marriage is beyond repair. I have pushed her too far. I cannot for the life of me think of another time that I have felt such sadness. She left May 4th. Almost every day I hear, get out of that house. She went to her mom's awaiting my departure from the house, leasing with the option to buy. I can't afford the house on my own and she claims she can, which is probably true. It's been almost 2 months of hell. I had no money and no prospects. I have found a place and I get the keys to this apartment on Friday. It's not a nice place and it breaks my heart that I have to take my daughter there. But it's all I can afford until I get a new job. So, our daughter, our old dog whom she's throwing away, and myself are moving next Tuesday. I told her that I get the keys a week from tomorrow, but I actually get them Friday. This is because I don't want micromanaged by her family as I try to move. What she doesn't know is that I have scrounged enough for an attorney. Our first court date is tomorrow. Any light at the end of the tunnel is that I have our daughter most of the time. Due to wife's schedule, I have our daughter Thursday through Tuesday morning and every other Saturday night, but still have her all day on Saturdays. Over the last month and a half, it's been roller coaster. At first, she wouldn't come over alone. I asked her why and she said it was because I might attack her. Another bizarre comment. I said, "But I've never attacked you," but that didn't matter. She denies having another affair and it seems that this is my fault. A couple weeks ago, she got into my phone account and got the numbers of everyone I've been texting or talking to, looked them up on Facebook, and threatened them not to step foot into her house. The things she said about me were terrible. I have never been treated so poorly by anyone as much as I have by her the last few weeks. My mind says I need to run far away. My heart misses my friend to the utmost intensity. Lately, she's been coming over more. She seems happier, but she knows I'm moving out. She even came over to have dinner with us, my daughter and I, a couple times. She said that 5 days without our daughter around is too hard, which is why she comes over. So that's my story. I have never been more depressed in my life. There have been rough periods of my life, some awful, but this is the worst. At least I have our daughter 85% of the time. Most of the time, I'm so sad and stressed out, it's making it hard to be a good dad. This is my side quest. I've started walking every day and will soon be running again. I am just so confused. How can I get love notes and be the perfect husband one day and less than 2 weeks later be such a piece of crap? How did I become an enemy? I've noticed a common theme, and that's when guys put the woman on a pedestal, the guy gets walked on. I'm not a weak man. At least I didn't think so. I was just agreeable. We seldom argued and got along like we were long-life friends. Now, I'm a monster. The constant lies she tells me as if I weren't there and what she's telling others. I just don't understand. She left on May 4th, Thursday, and filed Monday, May 8th. Our first court hearing is tomorrow at 1. I have an attorney that she is not aware of. She thinks I'm going to represent myself, and I've heard that my picker is off. She seemed different and the friendship we shared was different. I connected with her in a way I haven't had or seen before. Believe me, I see the obviousness in what she was before I met her. My optimism is my downfall. It wasn't low self-esteem, but maybe a little loneliness. I just believed in her. Am I paying the price for my misconception? Absolutely. However, I believe differently. Like I said before, it's all so confusing. How close we were, the friendship, the good times. 99% of the time, it was discussed how envious others were of our friendship and how much we laughed. The feeling that I was living a lie is hard to swallow. We are separated and she is staying with her mom. At least I'm not hearing, "Get the crap out of my house" anymore. She knows she left me broke but still hounded me. I can't move without money. I need time. That's your problem. I am not responsible for your happiness or your finances. She's been gone for about a month and a half and claims I've been dragging my feet. She knows I can't afford that house on my own. I couldn't have been more ill-prepared for this. So, when she misses our daughter, she drops by. Legally, she can, since her name is on the house as well as mine. Deep down I wanted "I'm sorry," so I thought showing her kindness would get that. It's my fault she would come to dinner the couple times this week because I would invite her. Now I realize I'm just hurting myself. She selfishly destroyed her family. I don't really want to reconcile. I do want justice, or at the very least, acknowledgement. But as far as boundaries, there aren't any. Not until I move next week. It's also important to note that she denies any affair. Adamantly, in fact. She said my paranoia is out of control. She does admit to the first affair and I have suspected more, however, she denies this one. I cannot afford that house. She has hounded our landlord and he has called to bother me with it. I am paying rent in a house I'm not staying in. He has even called, "I can't have you living there if you're not paying." This was every day. It is, or at least was, an everyday thing. She has a key and it's only a matter of time before my things are on the lawn, broken, or simply gone. I don't have many nice things, but what I do have is electronic. So, one day I'm at work, my things will either be sold, destroyed, or left outside. Although this may not be legal because my name is on the house agreement, it will still be broken or gone until I can replace it. The second possibility is that she will simply stop paying her half of the bills, and then I'll either have to pay that half, which will take what money I have to have them switched, and then get evicted anyway. We do not own this house. Leaving the home is such a delicate matter. Part of it, maybe most of it, is due to her being a bully about it. I know if I stand my ground on this, I agree to make things harder on myself. And not just her bothering me or the landlord harassing me about it. I'm talking retaliation and the memories. The more I stand my ground on this, the more she turns up the heat on her end. I have to say I'm actually frightened. My plan was to have the landlord come inspect the place before I leave. Also, I have to consider what she is now capable of. Sometimes the accusations can do just as much damage as actually doing whatever it is you're being accused of. In my opinion, at least until I've read some of the responses, is that the pros of leaving outweigh the cons. I'll be in a new home she doesn't have access to. She can't freely come and go, etc. She won't have access to anything anymore. If I stay and stand my ground, I have nothing really to gain. She will have the utilities that are not in my name shut off. She will stop paying rent which I cannot afford, etc. If I made a little more, I would stay. Something to take into consideration is, I have my daughter considerably more than she does. The only day I don't have her in some capacity is Wednesday. The move is inevitable. I was just thinking that the sooner I get out of here and let her have this place, the sooner I can get on with my life. She wants to be single and do it on her own as a 31-year-old. She can. Also, Indiana has spousal maintenance in the super rare case but no alimony. Going with the 180, it's exactly what I needed and will implement it post-haste. I will say that the comment that she is not my friend and I was actually in love with someone that doesn't exist hit hard. Reality is perception, and for some time, she was exactly what I wanted in a woman, affair aside of course. As I look through the sites, the threads here, watch the videos, I am in the same place with the same questions that so many others have. As irrelevant as it may or may not be, how can someone profess their love and admiration for you one day and then be so unbelievably cruel the next? It's still stuck in my head. I cannot wrap my head around it. I cannot comprehend that kind of monster. And it's not just me. When a spouse cheats, in my opinion, it's not the spouse they just cheat on. They cheat on their families as well. My parents divorced when I was 9, and from that time period on, I wanted a family. This was as close as I got to it. And yes, those red flags were there. I just made excuses for them. She was funny, pretty, the bonding was good, a decent mom, and acted as if we were friends. I keep asking why. Not why did she do this, but why didn't I see it? Shortly after her first affair, I said to myself that my daughter deserves to have 2 parents in the same home. All marriages have problems. Who is to say they have to be the same problem? Now here I am, regretting everything. At least I'm no longer scared of what I would say if she asked me back. Before I would have said yes under the perfect circumstances. I couldn't do that now. The ship has sailed. However, it sure would have been nice to have been better prepared. I believed everything. What hurts the most is remembering her holding me 2 months ago telling me to never worry about our marriage because I wanted to talk about her first affair. I'm not going anywhere, baby. I just found out that our court date has been pushed back to July 5th. She now knows I have an attorney. The next couple days will be interesting. I'm going to do the 180 like a fanatic. Something else I would like to point out, I know I'm not qualified to diagnose her as being a narcissist. With that being said, her grandfather did similar things as far as cheating on her grandmother. A serial cheater who treated her grandmother poorly. Her mother did almost the exact same thing to her father with a couple affairs, then turning on him like a rabid dog. Now, I am dealing with it. This is a learned behavior. My long-term goal is to teach my daughter differently. The smear campaign of hers is trying. I was never a big Facebook person, but now when I open it, it's a slander fest. She's blocked me, but we still have mutual friends. You look so much happier without him, or happier away from him, and whatever crap he's got, he can cause his drama with them. What the hell? It's unbelievable. I had to contact her last night because I learned that on one of the only 2 days she has our daughter, she goes out or goes to meet the after he gets off work around 10 p.m. I just said, if you're leaving or going out, please bring our daughter to me. OMG, I am so sick of your BS. Don't you worry about what I am doing. She is taken care of. I need you to go away. Perhaps this was my biggest mistake of the day because she blew up. The smallest discussion or conversation drains me and damn near ruins my day. It doesn't matter what it's about. She has become cruel, hateful, and condescending. She loves to remind me that it's over, and my paranoia is too much even when the topic is about something else. A good example is that I've noticed changes in our daughter. They are emotional changes. She's sensitive now and cries easily. When bringing this to her attention, it causes backlash. What do you want me to do? Come back home and crawl into damn bed? I don't know what you don't understand. We are done. Your paranoia pushed me over the edge and you need help. Go get it while you're still under my insurance that you don't have to pay for. We're discussing shoes for our daughter. Those shoes you told me to have her wear are too small, I think. She didn't complain, but they left blisters while we were at the park. Jesus, I didn't say to have them on her the entire time. Damn, problem solves. But they weren't on her the entire. OMG, shut the crap up. This was the woman who professed that I was a great husband and she couldn't be happier 7 weeks ago. She's discarding our dog too. At this point, she's just as much my dog as she is yours, she uses to say. Well, no, not anymore it seems. She's a 10-year-old that I've had since she was 9 weeks old. She is staying with me. I know for a few of the veterans these things can seem so obvious. You've seen it time and time again. For me, I'm struggling with the cruelty and instant enemy act. I've talked with mutual friends. Her family won't speak to me at all. Those I've tried to contact just block me or won't answer the phone. I will say that I did act like an ass the night I found out. I yelled and threw a chair, looked over my shoulder, and my daughter were watching. I was wrong for it. We've never argued or had a fight in front of her, and that night was the only time. I will regret it forever. However, with that being said, from what I have found out, my tantrum that night trumps everything. Yes, I did scramble to not be wrong. I didn't look at it like that. I was trying to explain that I didn't have them on her, the shoes, for very long at all and not to use them. I wasn't able to get to that point. And I'll be honest, I'm frightened of what this woman can and will do if her anger hits a point. Last night she dropped our daughter off an hour late and of course came inside. I said, hey look, no reason to treat each other like crap. Let's get along and do this thing for our daughter. If she sees us getting along, she will grow up fine. Or at least as fine as she could. Oh man, I am failing the 180. The response was golden. You're in the house I am paying rent on. You're dragging your feet. It's been 2 months and you're still in the damn house. You get paid. Why the F is you still here? I'm staying at my mother's and it pisses me off. I can't even look at you without being angry. You could have easily gone to your mother's, a 400 sq ft 1-bedroom apt with a 79-year-old, me, and our 4-year-old. But no, you're still in my house dragging your feet. Yes, I'm going to be pissed. Also, when you do move, nothing in our daughter's room leaves this house. Period. I will be getting full custody. Get used to 2-3 days a week because the little girl belongs with her mother. I enrolled her in Head Start and she will be taken to school by me. Typically, the man leaves the house but not you. You're not a man. You're getting paid yet here you are. You didn't even need an attorney. We could have sat down and did this like adults but no, now you had to get a lawyer involved. I get the keys for the apartment today. She thinks I get the keys on Wednesday and moving on Wednesday and Thursday. This will give me time to get the things out without being micromanaged while doing it. I'm also getting the contents of our daughter's room. I have her 85% of the time so we will let the judge decide. I'm anxious to get the apartment but once she sees our daughter's room is almost empty, she will lash out. If she keeps her from me again, it will just make her look bad in the eyes of the court. She is the enemy. It's difficult to rewire the thought pattern. I know her words don't matter, it's her actions and her actions have shown who she really is. Deep down, I know this. Ironically, when I see her, I don't even like her. It's so frustrating that she does such a fantastic job of convincing me how wrong I am, how I've ruined our marriage, what a bad person I am, etc. I'm tired of questioning myself constantly, tired of the self-doubt, tired of being exhausted after she rips into me. Really sick of being the bad guy but that isn't going away. I know from the outside and it's frustrating to give advice. Just stop talking to her. This is the best advice ever and I know it. But it's so hard. For 6 years other than a 4-week time period, we laughed every day. We talked every day about everything. We didn't fight or argue. We touched and kissed and talked about the future. Of course, it wasn't perfect and we had issues but it all changed so fast. My stumbling block is how illogical it is. I'll make myself crazy by trying to understand it but I've accepted that I won't. I'm not sure what stage I'm into right now but when I see her, I no longer have a longing for her or for things to return to our normal. When she looks at me and is hateful, rolls her eyes, or cuts me off I just look at her and wonder who or what this monster is. It sparks my curiosity. What kind of person can treat another human like this? Even more so after a declaration of love and friendship. That part is curiosity. I don't really like the person I'm looking at. Then, she convinces me of what I said above. Then I can feel myself regress. Everything goes backwards and I start over. There are behaviors I have to unlearn with this monster. Logic doesn't work here. X them with kindness. Nope, not that either. Just stop talking to her. Stop talking to her. Stop talking to her with her. I know this. I remember it as I'm actually talking to her. Well, I think that after I move, I'm going to therapy. My thought pattern, self-esteem, other things have deteriorated and I'm unsure of so much now. I can even see how much harder this is than it needs to be. I will say that I recognize the damage my own pride is doing to my situation. I wasn't an awful husband and the desire to defend myself just makes it worse. I am moving forward, just not in all aspects. I have to accept the reality of it. I didn't speak to her at all throughout the weekend. 180 aside, it's really about the only thing that makes me feel better is the disconnect. I move tomorrow morning and I'm taking the contents of my daughter's room. There is no going back with her. I have given her too much control and I think I need to restart. The way it happened stinks but when I look back, the less I respect her. The fear that I have is what she will do once she sees my daughter's stuff is gone. I'm talking false accusations, keeping our daughter from me, messing with my car or job, something. She will make sure I pay for this is in some way or another. I get how in trying to please and make the woman happy, I rolled over. I understand that now. Tonight will be my last night in the house. It's hitting me kind of hard. I have no choice but to move on and what I feel right now is profound. I think that if anyone ruins, disrupts, makes harder, or causes pain to anyone else's life to make themselves feel better or to feel good, that person is a trash can. Looking back, she has been gaslighting me for years. My plan going forward is therapy and a new job. I'm going to start doing things I've always wanted to do. Write more, art, music, etc. I will say that the pain, anger, and stress I feel right now is the most intense thing I have ever experienced. Update. Well, I'm out of the house and into a subpar apartment. The last 3 days have been virtually unbearable. She came over just as I was on my way back to get the last load. She was decent but hadn't noticed the belongings were gone in my daughter's room. I had her send me a text saying that everything was acceptable in the house. I took and there was no damage. After I took pictures, and I left. About an hour later I received a phone call. WTF do you think you're doing taking her bed and dresser? I let you have the bed so she could sleep with you. I did not give you permission to take that. I just hung up. 10 minutes later she calls back. I will be talking to my lawyer tomorrow. We have no beds here, you piece of. I hung up again. Then the texts. Good job, super dad. Where do we sleep? It's important to note that my 4-year-old daughter has never slept alone or in her bed. Ever. She has always slept with us. Or at least one of us. A couple hours later she calls back and this time I tried to reason with her. By mistake. I took it so that it felt like her home. But I stopped there and told me to stick to the 180. I got off the phone and now her friends were texting me. You're a piece of trash. She bought that bed, not you. There has been a lot of focus on the fact that she bought what for some reason. You're a disgrace to everyone around you. Everyone sees it. You've been in that home living off of her dime. What kind of man does that? You took her clothes, the food, etc. I can finally tell you how much I hate you. Even your adult daughter hates you and doesn't respect you as a father. Side note, I got custody of my oldest from her mother who tried to kill herself after her husband left her years ago. She's never forgiven me for that. But that's where things are. Comments like those cut to the bone. What was already hard is 100x harder and I'm having a hard time coping with it. It's not that she's gone, it's that there is no remorse. My 4-year-old will grow up in a divorced home. Our lives are not good and when one of us picks up or drops her off, she pleads for us to stay. It wrecks me. The pain is too much. I put on a happy face and I'm strong for her, but I've never experienced distress like this. This morning I was trembling. I have never felt like more of a failure as a father, if ever about anything in my life. Our first court date is today. I'm anxious. I think I've stopped liking her as a person. The way she rewrites our past is insulting. Everything she does is a slight or some sort of insult. Logistical conversations about our daughter turns into a disagreement. Before, I would just kind of go along with things. Now if I disagree, she gets furious. I'm not here to control, but she tries to control me through our daughter. I'll drop her off at 6, which turns into 6:30 or after. Little things like this and it happens every single time. Now that I've learned a little about the narcissist, I can predict her actions and words fairly accurately. My depression has changed as well. When I do get depressed now it's 90% regarding my daughter. I feel incredibly sad for her. Sad that she's innocent and going this. Sad because she doesn't deserve it. I will admit to frustration when the STBXW lies to me. I can tell she's lying and it just frustrates me. It's childish and really, stop. Then I go back to not liking her as a person. My comment, you didn't fail, your wife is a B. All those so-called friends of hers texting you is childish and out of line. Block them all, pay it no mind. If it continues, threaten legal action. Your daughter will get used to the routine of drop-offs and pickups. It takes a little time. At least she gets time away from that nutjob woman now. You've had 3 days to mope, time to stand up straight, dust off, and channel your inner jerk. Get angry, anger brings strength. Part 2 ending will come tomorrow ending. Sub and we will learn what OP does in the end.